Good morning, welcome to a new video. Getting this video started the same way I started off the classic "Nobody Wants to Go Out With Me," the same video that caused a lot of you guys to find me. Pretty life-changing video, and today I find myself in a similar mood on a similar topic. I was just listening to My Chemical Romance, so you know we're about to get into it. As always, promised myself I wasn't going to talk about it. Promised myself I wasn't going to do this video. And then, per usual, realized that the best content, the greatest value that I can give you guys comes from talking about the things I don't want to talk about. So let's get into it. I had to chuckle because last video I started off by saying, this is the end of the breakup saga. Guys, I fully intended it that way. Trust me, I really did. I don't want this to be the breakup channel. I don't want this to be, but I can only talk about what I live, and I find it very fitting that life is what happens when you're making other plans. So here we go. As you guys know, I've been sticking to my plan. I've been sticking to getting myself out there. I've been hitting the apps. I've been swiping away on Bumble. And because of that, this last Thursday, I found myself on yet another Bumble date. This was the second date. The girl was absolutely stunning, super beautiful, super fit, amazing personality. Just like I know. I'm hearing myself talk. And there was really no but. So I'm with her on this date, second date. We're talking, and at some point, she asks me she's like, so how long has it been since you actually broke up with your ex? And I thought I had already told her, but apparently I didn't. And so we got into it, and she said, oh, it's not that long ago. Like, do you still think about her? And just her asking those questions definitely made me a little bit, it's one thing to be introspective and to talk to yourself all day, but it's kind of different when someone else is asking you the same questions that you ask yourself, but it has like a different dimension to it. I guess that's where the whole concept of therapy comes in, right? Somebody actually asking you the questions instead of you just asking yourself and telling yourself that you're fine. So I'm like, she's definitely still there in my mind every now and then, yada yada yada. And as I'm telling her about my ex, I can just feel like a certain sadness seeping through myself, right? We wrapped up the date. My date actually wanted to go somewhere else. She was like, oh, I'm still thirsty, like let's go get a drink, and I was done for the night. It was a Thursday evening, and I was just like, you know what, I think I'm good, I'd rather just go home and chill, like not go home with her, go home by myself and chill. And so we agreed, and I started walking her to the metro stop. She had to take the metro. Of course, I'm a gentleman. I want to make sure she makes it home safe. So I start walking her there. And so we're walking next to each other. We're not even like half a block in, and all of a sudden I get like this feeling, like a spider sense type of thing, or like when or kind of like the Jedis when they feel like a Sith is near, they feel like they can feel it, or like Dragon Ball Z, like when you're Goku and then Frieza arrives, even though he's arriving on the other side of the planet, you're like something just happened. And not to go off a tangent, but there's a reason those things are incorporated into anime, into movies. Like, they come from a real feeling. Like, it's not just sci-fi. That's a real thing. Like, there's more to all it is than just evolved monkeys walking around with jeans and smartphones, right? So I sense something, I just go like and then, without even having looked, and I look to the left of me, it's like the main strip, there's all these bars and restaurants, and I see, before I see anything, I see a guy. But then I look to the right of that guy, and who's sitting next to that guy is my ex, who I haven't seen in, I guess 3 months. And it was so like, I see her, and it's just like, it was like a shock, obviously. But she doesn't see me, right? And I'm next to this girl, my Bumble date. And so, and I look back at the guy again that's sitting next to her, because obviously my mind is racing in like 0.6 seconds. And it's jumping to, oh, that's the new guy. That's her new boyfriend, or that's the guy she's going out with. So like, look back at him again. And as I do, he looks at me, and we lock eyes. Like, it was like a clear moment that, I looked at him, he looked at me. All this time, my ex hasn't seen me. And my date is walking right next to me, talking to me. And so it's just like boom, boom, boom. And we keep walking. And you guys know, whenever you're watching a movie and there's like a big gunfight taking place, or like a car crash, and they put this effect on the main character as you're watching the movie, where it's like they're subdued, it's like they're underwater, and there's like a beep, and like all the outside noises are not really getting through. It's like there's a filter on it. Again, like you're underwater. That's exactly how I felt. Like, I was in actual shock. Like, I was just like walking on autopilot. Like, my body was still moving. I was maintaining an upward position, but I was just not there. And so my date is talking to me. She was saying something about ice skating and I think skateboarding, but I couldn't, like, and I heard myself say, yeah, no, yeah, sure. Like, I was still verbal, but I was just shell-shocked. Like a grenade had just gone off next to my head. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, trying to process, but and so we make it to the metro. I drop her off, I say goodbye, and without even a conscious decision, I just turn around and I start walking back towards where I saw my ex with the guy. And as I'm walking, I'm kind of regaining my senses, and I start talking to myself out loud. That's what I always do. I'm a big, like, advocate of that. I think talking to yourself, like, literally out loud, helps externalize things. I've given clients that advice and that approach as well. Let people think you're crazy, it's okay. Something happens when you talk out loud. So I'm walking back and I'm going like, what are we doing? Like, literally in English. I do think and speak in English a lot, even though my native tongue is Dutch. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What is the plan? So we're just gonna pull up? We're just gonna, like, but all I knew is that I had to see how she would respond. I had to see the look in her face when she did see me. I just had to know. Because here I was, thinking I was pretty much fully over it. But then, which I was doing great, like, I'm telling you, I was feeling great, I was feeling fine. I was out of that rut. But then just upon seeing her, I just had this reaction, this visceral reaction, so I just, clearly there was still a lot there, and I guess I wanted to know if there was still something there for her. So I was just like, I just there is no plan. I'm gonna pull up and see what happens. As I get back to the spot, literally as I arrive, that exact very moment in time, the guy had just gone to the bathroom. So it's just her sitting there by herself. And so I arrive, she immediately sees me this time because she's not talking to the guy. She's not distracted. And she says, hola, I say hola. And it was, for someone who makes some of his money talking, I damn sure did not do a good job talking. I think we said, hola, ¿cómo estás? 3 times in a loop, like it just kept looping. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, ¿y tú? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? ¿Cómo estás? Bien, ¿y tú? We just did a loop. And because I didn't have any, I was just like, that's all I had. And so, and then she asked me about work. I asked her about work. I felt so awkward. I felt so overwhelmed. My mind was racing. My posture was shit. She was sitting down, I was standing up, so I kept alternating between crouching down to like get on her level and like awkwardly like bending over like an old man. But the whole time she's looking at me, she's giving me this radiant smile. Like even though I'm being so weird and so, self-conscious, she's just giving me this radiant big smile. And I don't know. It was all good vibes from her end. And so we mixed the small talk. I asked about some things. She asks about me being indulgent, da 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 da. And then I'm like, oh, so I guess you're on a date. And I kind of point to the empty seat. She goes, no, like that's he's my friend. And I kind of had oh, that's good. I don't know. A moment. And then at some point I basically regained my composure a little bit. And I felt the urgency of the impending return of her friend, which I knew was coming soon. Because at this point I'm like 3 minutes in, talking to her. And so I crouch down and I look at her and I ask like, todavía piensas de mí? Like, do you still think of me sometimes? And she goes, I'm seeing someone else. Like that's just what she said. And she said, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm seeing someone else. So she didn't say yes or no, that was the answer, which I respect. That's all that had to be said. And I just asked, do you feel good with him? And she says, yes. And I asked, are you happy with him? And she says, yes, I'm very happy. And I said, okay, es todo lo que importa. Which means that's all that matters. And then we just looked into each other's eyes for like maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds, no words, non-verbal. And she started tearing up a little bit, like her eyes got wet. And then the guy came back. I shook his hand twice in 10 seconds, mad awkward. He was like, okay, what's going on? Like he didn't say anything, but he was like surprised. And he had already seen me, right? So I just I shook his hand. I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. And then I shook his hand again. It was mad weird. And then I left. And that was it. And then of course, that's her homie, so I know that he told her dude, this guy was literally just passing by with another girl. So not the best situation, but then again, it doesn't matter. The goal here is not to win her back or clearly she's happy. She communicated as such. And then her tearing up and her getting watery-eyed. I feel like you can date it any way you want to. You can be the eternal optimist, and I will say I did feel there was still a lot of love there, a lot of love. But then, like, her getting a little bit emotional, I think you could take it as, oh, she still loves me, right? We're so back. Or you can take that as her, like, feeling my pain. Obviously, feeling the fact that I'm still in love with her, feeling the fact that I'm radiating all this energy towards her. I'm sure I looked like a deer caught in the headlights, just like, and I think, like, you could definitely interpret that as her looking at me like, I'm sorry for your pain, right? Like, I'm sorry that you are, you're a person that I love, and that you're feeling this, basically. Which should not always be like this is, I'm making this video for all my guys out there. Like, many times women are more capable of that level of empathy. Like, women are very much able to still, like, and I'm not saying guys aren't, but I do feel like most women are more in touch with that. Like, they're more able to, like, feel that love and compassion and sympathy for somebody that they used to love, but it doesn't mean that they still have that type of love, right? So, yeah, that happened. And when we said goodbye, she did say, she a few times, she was like, it was really good seeing you, it was really good seeing you. Like, and I did feel that from her, like, from her end, it just, I truly felt like she was happy to see me. And I guess I'm happy it happened. She looked amazing. She looked so good. But it did definitely set me, like, it did, like, knock me off of my pedestal after aggression that I had established. But then again, like, the night itself, when I got back, I was a mess. I was like, just, whoo! And I felt really bad, really emotional. Like I said, jumped right into the Iris Goo Goo Doll song. You know that song, right? Is it the Goo Goo Dolls? I think so. And the song is called Iris. Pretty sure. I hope it's the Goo Goo Dolls. You know, that type of vibe. And I'd give up forever to touch you. You know. And I was like, oh shit. Here we go. Another 3 weeks of wallowing in the heartache and depression. I guess that's on the menu. I guess that's what we're doing. New year, old me. But I'm happy to say that. So that happened on Thursday evening, and then I had my Friday. Friday morning, still emo as hell. Still all sad. And then I, like, started going about my day. Started doing my things. And it must have been around 5 p.m. afternoon yesterday. Mind you, I'm also not smoking weed this entire week. I haven't been smoking. So I'm very much like, I want to feel what's there. I'm not covering it up. I'm not subduing it. I'm not, tranquilizing myself. I want to feel. So I'm not smoking. So, because it's easy to feel numb and feel good if you're smoking every day. That's why people smoke. But so, yesterday afternoon, I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I kind of realized, like, hey, I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of fine. And then today, I woke up and saying stuff like, I'm not where I used to be. I'm not, like, it hit me, it did, and of course, watching her watching her physical appearance right in front of me, like, strongly impacted me. But it didn't, like, it didn't break me again, or it didn't, like, completely destroy me at all. Like, it was more so like an ember from the past that lit up again and that showed me, like, hey, there's still a lot here. There's still a lot of processing and learning to do. But I'm not where I was 2 months ago. I'm not where I was when I made that video, sitting in my living room listening to the XX, Heartbroken and Depressed, like not even close. And so, in that sense, I do feel happy. I'm also happy that she's happy. Like, I'm happy that this new guy, whoever he is treating her right, and she feels good. Because I meant what I said. That is truly all that matters. Like, it's not about anything else but that. And loving someone, you can't love someone on the condition of I can only love them if they're happy with me. No, love means you want them to be happy, period. If that's with you, if that is with you, great. That's bonus, right? But if it's not with you, that cannot be like a deal breaker. If it's not with you, then it's not with you. So I do feel like I'm making a big step with that realization and with me feeling that way about her and her new relationship. Now, one thing I want to say before I conclude, and guys, just want to say thank you so much for listening to these videos and sitting in on. You guys have no idea how much this helps me and how much this means to me. It's definitely a two-way street in terms of how how this thing works. And I'm about to drop the most, this is not gonna make any sense, but I'm sharing this with you guys. I'm literally sharing this with tens and thousands of people. But I decided that, so when I got back, I decided not to share what happened with my roommates, with my friends, because I did a lot of that last year. Like all the stuff that happened last year, I was always sharing it with my roommates and my friends. But I feel like the pendulum of sharing has definitely swung too far, where I feel like in our current society we put too much stock in sharing. We definitely used to not share enough in the past as a society, but I feel like oversharing is also a thing, and I've been guilty of that, because when you always run to share everything, it's kind of like that can get confused for doing the work, that can get confused for actually just spitting your turtle emo diarrhea at someone doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something, or that you're you're getting it out, but it's also shaping the perception of you. It's also shaping who you are. You're also manifesting a lot of things, and you're kind of if me going back and talking about the fact that I ran into my ex and it crushed me. That's gonna shape my roommate's perception of me again, where I'm at. And this year I've made the conscious decision to not do that. And I wanted to share that with you guys, that don't always be so quick to just share for the sake of sharing. Be mindful of that. Now, this is not if you're a person that has never opened up to someone, this is not for you. I'm not talking to you, okay? You should definitely share. But if you're a person more like me, who has no issues sharing, who has no issues, talking about things, you kind of want to monitor that every now and then. So lucky me, none of my real life friends and family watch my channel, so I can just share it on here, knowing that they're not going to find out. But thank you guys for still giving me a safe space to do so. But yeah, that's something I'm doing this year. Just basically less sharing. Because also when you do that, and I know I'm going way too long on this, but I just wanted to really drive home my point. once you've shared that with someone, you create this situation where now, next time they see you, they're gonna want to have a follow-up conversation. They're gonna ask about it. So how has it been since? You know, has you reached out? Has you done, like, you know what I mean? And so you're setting something in motion. You are stretching out the situation. You're stretching out the whole moment and the topic. And so you're not giving yourself space and opportunity to find yourself in a different type of flow and mindset. Yeah, all right. That's it. That's all I have to say about all those things. That's the video, guys. I hope you appreciated it. I hope you appreciate the honesty, that I'm not afraid to make a video 1 week announcing that the breakup saga is over and then come back and hit you with this. Like I said, there's no curation on this channel. There's no, like, it's impossible for me to predict how I'm gonna feel this time next week. But all in all, I feel like it was a very positive experience. I'm very happy with how I reacted to it, and I'm very happy with how I feel today. A big step has been taken forward. Thou shalt not fall. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep progressing. And we're gonna stay honest in the process. We're gonna stay honest with you. And one day at a time, one step at a time, we're gonna get there. Alright guys, that's it. Leave a comment below. Tell me if you want me to shut up about this topic. Plot twist, it's not gonna matter. I'm gonna keep going. But thank you for watching, thank you for listening. And just one last closing thought. Life is beautiful. Like, you can't complain if you're in the game. I'm still in a position where I am lucky and blessed enough to actually have Bumble dates, have dates, have women interested in going out with me. I'm blessed to be in a position where I can run into an ex. Like, to be able to run into an ex, you have to have an ex in the first place. So, can't complain if you're in the game. I would much rather feel all of this pain, feel all of this love 10 times over than to just have like a baseline reality, no highs, no lows, and not feel any of this. Can't complain if you're in the game. So, I'm very grateful for everything. I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for the Bumble date. I'm grateful for the breakup. I'm grateful for the feeling of nausea and the shock. Everything. Everything. Qué linda es la vida.